Hi, everyone. We are
Hello.
live. And I would like to welcome everyone to this December 12th, 2020, 12/12/2020 panel discussion on Creative Focus Beyond 2020. We have a distinguished panel with us today, and we're going to talk about how do we stay on course during and beyond the 2020 global pandemic. So we have people from every walk of life that's engaged in the music industry. So I want to welcome everyone here that's made it in, and we're still waiting for a couple others to log in. So the cultural creative industry, which we're going to be discussing today, has been hit very, very hard and severe by the pandemic. As you know, artists are losing money. There's no venues that's open that's giving shows. So that's another revenue that they're losing out on. So how are we adapting as those in the creative industry? How are we adapting? How are we making it? What was 2020 like for us? I'm going to go ahead and start introducing those that we do have here on our distinguished panel, and we wait for the others to log in. So I'm going to go and start with DJ Jimmy, who is with Zion Highness Radio and is a veteran in the radio industry, have been doing it for years in the music industry, steadfast and also dedicated and committed to the music industry. So I want you to take this time in this moment while we wait for the others to tell us a little bit about yourself and what you do.
Hi, how are you doing? It's
Wonderful.
Jeremy.
Jamie?
Yeah, of course, from Zionist Radio, and also do some broadcasting for WEAA 88.9 FM here in Baltimore. You know, I'm a lover of music. I play music that uplift, music about love, music about life, social commentary, happy music, music that uplift. I would say I'm one of those who I distinctly try not to play anything that's negative, as far as nothing that's derogatory to women, nothing that depicts violence in the music that I play. And I think it's very important. You know what I mean? Because as radio personnel, we are like we're doing a community service. We're servicing the community, which involves from babies all the way up, and we have to be very aware of the material that we put out on the airways.
Yeah, because we're actually, what is it? What is the word I'm looking for? We actually feed the ears of the world. Okay? So we have to be careful what's being fed. And then we move over here to Madam Gorgeous. Hello. Olympia. Sharifa. Hello.
Hello, how are you?
I'm wonderful. I love your background. You're so
Oh, thank
cozy.
you.
So very cozy. You are a phenomenal woman who I'm only now meeting, and I don't know why. We have never met before.
I know.
But everything happens for its own entire reason.
That's right.
I want you to take your time. I want you to tell the world who you are.
Well, I'm Sharifa Fonachero Barksdale. I am an Olympian, former American record holder, and the first woman to ever break the American record and run under 55 in the history of the 400-meter hurdles.
Okay, say that again. I didn't hear
I'm,
you. Say it
I
again.
was I was the first woman to ever run under 55 in the history of the 400-meter hurdlers. And so, first one to set the American record. And I've been doing track and field ever since I was in the ninth grade. Went to college at the University of Tennessee, studied and graduated in early childhood development, child psychology, got a doctorate, honorary doctorate degree. Let me see what else about Cherie. I have two beautiful, beautiful children. My daughter, Gentile Montanique Cherie, she lives in LA. She's an actress and she has her master's degree in journalism. I have a son that's a javelin thrower, getting ready for the Olympic Games. I'm a
Wow.
single mom. Just love family, love life. I'm the senior manager for USA Track and Field, which is the governing body of the USOPC Olympics. And I just moved here 5 years ago from Lexington, Kentucky. My mother is an opera singer. She's 93 years old and she still can sing and she still can hit those high notes. And she looks like she's 70. She's been singing and my family been singing for many, many years. And I remember as a child growing up, we used to have to make up songs on the spot. So if someone gave us a title, we had to make it up on the spot. So that's how I really got into music. But my music didn't really take off until I went to Johannesburg, South Africa, because Justin Gatlin and we have a company in Cape Town called Born to Be Elite, where we give back to children and try to take them to another level in track and field, so they one day can become an Olympian and be on the Olympic medal stand.
Okay. Okay.
So I did laid a couple tracks down there, and then it's just, during this pandemic, I had all this time on my hand because I wasn't traveling like I did, because I travel almost every weekend. And, where the pandemic has been devastated for most of this entire world, it has allowed me to do more for the community, more for the people across sea. And not only that, let me be in tune with domestic violence, because I have spoken and I travel across the world about domestic violence, but to really bring this to light and to life, it's a blessing from God, because it's not my timing, but it's God's timing. And by Gentel being an actress out there, she knew a lot of the actors and stuff that volunteered their times, that's A-list, that's in the video, that did it free. And I'm just truly blessed that they were able to capture my story in this short film video of strong women, because we all are strong women. No matter what we go through, God sees us and he heals us.
Wow. Phenomenal. So you're able to infuse athleticism with musicism.
Yes. And what is so crazy is that I sung the song a cappella, and my producer, who lives in Zimbabwe, he put the music to it. I mean, I was just singing and he created the music and all of that. I sung it in my bathroom. So we have another single that's coming out that's called Love Can Be So Blind. But this time I said, I can't go that route. So I turned one of my room into an actual studio. So I went out and got all this stuff. So now I actually have a studio to make the sound even better.
Yes, sound is very important.
Yes.
The way the sound is very important. Ladies and gentlemen, I'm just to tell you a little bit about myself. I am your moderator here today, and we are still waiting for the other guests to log on. My name is Lady B. Bless. I am a radio personality, motivational speaker, and a humanitarian, and a social entrepreneur. I started out in the music industry about 25 to 30 years ago. I used to manage and promote rap artists in New York. I was able to sign to Arista Record at that time, the first female rap group, Dime, and that was in the 90s. The rap industry wasn't too much for me, my personality, so I switched to reggae. And since then, I have managed many reggae artists from the Caribbean to Africa and everywhere in between. I have my own record label and my own publishing company and my own radio station, because I believe in order to play the music that you like and enjoy, you have to make it your own. And that's exactly what I did. So I decided to continue doing my radio show, but I stepped away from the music industry to do humanitarian work. And that's how the Lady B. Bless Humanitarian Foundation started. And at this point, we are working in Ghana. I still talk to artists about development, because I think that's a very important field that a lot of artists today are skipping out on, which is the development part. They feel that if I have 1,000 hits on Facebook or YouTube, then I'm an artist. And that's not the case. You still have to develop yourself. So that's me. If you guys have any questions for me, feel free to ask, about my background. But I see that we have another guest that joined us, Madam Hillary Brown, Queen Hillary Brown. How are you? She's so fabulous. I love your crown.
Oh, thank you so much, my sister. I'm very well. I'm here in a very cold and wintry and windy United Kingdom, but I'm absolutely delighted to join you here this evening.
We're going to warm
delighted
you.
to be here.
We're going to warm you.
Thank goodness. Thank goodness.
We're sending the heat. Well, thank you for joining us. So now that you're here, give us a little bit about yourself. We started and we're still waiting for other people to log on. So go ahead and introduce yourself. Tell us about what you do and how that goes in line with the music industry.
Okay, so my name is Hilary Brown and I'm a lawyer by profession. And my specialist area of law is immigration and asylum and human rights. I own my own law firm. I have an office in Wales and I have an office in England. And I waited with bated breath whilst the law in the United Kingdom changed to enable me to be able to do law and more. And the more that I do now under one roof is I am the first law firm in the United Kingdom to hold a A-rated license, enabling me to issue work permits for international artists and entertainers and those within the sporting and creative industries that wish to come to the United Kingdom and perform. So I'm absolutely delighted to be able to bring a bolt-on additional service under one roof that holds the same high professional standards as you would expect a law firm to hold. So that means the work permits and the visas can be offered hand in hand under one roof in a professional, confidential manner. And we say that is one of the best investments that artists and entertainers and those within the sporting and creative industries can invest in themselves. Investing to protect their immigration credibility enables them to travel freely around the world without having their ability to enter countries to perform compromised. Because when you come to an organization such as Virgo Consultancy Services, you're in safe hands.
Wow. Congratulations on that. And all your accomplishments. Yes, that's absolutely deserve a clap, and it's wonderful and great. Immigration with the artists, I know it's a tough area because a lot of artists want to travel. A lot of artists want to enter the UK or even the US, but because of the visa restrictions or the work permit, it becomes very difficult. Have you, how long have you started the law firm dealing with the immigration issues with the work visa and permits?
So I've owned my own law firm for 12 years. The issue in relation to visas and work permits is a new initiative in the United Kingdom. And we've done that for 4 years now. But in this profession, dealing with immigration, ensuring that people can come to the UK and travel around the world, I've been doing that for 30 plus years.
Wow.
I've been in this for what seems like 1,000 years. But as you say, it is problematic. It is problematic. And
I wanted to ask you this question. The problems, how do you protect yourself from the runaway artists?
Okay, well, thankfully, we get it right from the very beginning. One of the things that always happens is artists and so-called managers and so-called promoters feel that they can do everything often on the cheap. And it really is a false economy. They think they don't need an immigration lawyer because they can fill out the form themselves. They often think because they can read and write, they can do an immigration application. What they don't realize are the consequences for the artist when things go wrong. When an artist will misinterpret a question asked by a promoter or a manager, filling out forms on behalf of the artist. And on my website, I say, many artists' careers didn't take off purely because they couldn't take off and fly to another country.
Mhm.
And often we see it's as a result of a mistake, innocent or not, made on behalf of the people who are filling out immigration and visa applications for artists, sports people, and their entourage. Now, think about this. Sometimes we are our own worst enemy.
Mhm.
And sometimes we're running down the ticket sales and we're running down the profit margins, but we don't invest in ourselves. And an investment in going to a proper, qualified, accredited immigration lawyer to safely maneuver you through the immigration legislation and protect your immigration credibility is the best investment an artist can make for themselves, in themselves. You should protect your immigration credibility like your health, because your career goes nowhere if you cannot leave your island or if you cannot leave your country. Do you think for 1 minute that people like Rihanna, people like Beyonce cut corners when it comes to paperwork and documentation and getting the work done behind the scenes so that the stage performance can be magnificent?
Yes.
They don't cut those corners. They do not cut those corners. And it's about time that we as Black artists changed our mindset. It is like going to the gas man and asking him to cut your lawn. Your manager manages. Your lawyer is supposed to do the law. Don't confuse the two. Don't confuse the two. It is the best thing any artist and any manager or promoter can do, is to invest a little time in the artist to make sure that the work permits and the visa applications are in safe hands. And your question about what can I do and what do I do about making sure that artists don't run away? Look, artists always run away. But as long as I ensure that upfront, I get the documentation that I need and I get an amount of money in my bank account that I hold in case the artist flies,
Right.
it doesn't matter too much if after the artist leaves his performance, he goes AWOL, because I have adhered to due diligence and due process. I've dotted the I's, I've crossed the T's, but I'm not God. I can't control people's intention. So I can do what I can do. I can do it well. I can do it to the best of my ability, and I can do it better than most people.
She's feisty. I love her. DJ, what do you have to say? I know you deal with a lot of artists. What have you encountered with the immigration issues with some of the artists? I know I've dealt with artists in the US that was here trying to get asylum, came on a show and got missing.
You know, I'm not exactly sure on the immigration side of it because that's something I usually don't converse that much with artists about. You know, I do interviews more about the career side of it. I must say I'm probably really ignorant to immigration issues, so I wouldn't comment much on that. You know what I mean? I'll probably just be going from what I've heard, or you know what I mean?
It's a tough nut to crack. I remember when I had my record label and I was doing this big conference, all these artists wanted to come over. And I was so skeptical because I don't know if they come, they would run and then I would get in trouble. You understand? So immigration is a very sticky thing. And when I want to call her Dr. Brown. I don't know why I'm looking at her and saying Dr. Brown.
I know, Dr. Ev, right?
She's a doctor. She's an honorary doctor. When Mrs. Brown was speaking, I thought about you, Sharifa, and your travels and dealing with immigration issues, because you've been all over the world.
Yes.
And like she says, you have to dot the I's and cross the T's.
That's right.
So what have been your experience?
Well, I've been traveling since I was 22 years old. So you talking about decades. And with my experience, because I'm the manager, one of the manager for the United States Olympics, we most definitely have to have our I's dotted and our T's crossed. And what I'm dealing with 230 athletes, what I require is that, especially with your visa and passport, because young athletes, their mind is not on that. So they're thinking about racing. So we not only do we collect them after they get to their hotels, but I physically take a picture of it so I can have it on file just in case something did get lost. At least we have that to back it up. And nowadays, going through the airport, if you they can scan that passport, the barcode on it, and so so that's the only thing that I have. I've never had an issue going cross sea or going, somewhere out of the country, because from my past experience. And just like Miss Brown, you always have to dot your I's and cross your T's, because you never know what obstacle that you're going to run into. So again, I'm lucky. I'm very fortunate that I haven't had that type of problem.
Yes, I understand exactly what she's speaking to. I was going to Ghana in 2018, and my passport expired 6 months, but it was 2 weeks into the whole I would be in Ghana. I was going for 6 weeks. So they didn't approve my visa, and I didn't know why. I was so devastated. So what happened in the embassy is telling me, they said no, because you wouldn't be able to come back into the country.
Right.
While your passport expired in April, if you were traveling 2 weeks earlier in October, you could have went. But your ticket is telling us you're coming back 2 weeks after the 6 months for your passport. So they didn't grant you a visa. So Ms. Brown, I don't think a lot of the artists understand the procedure and the hard work it takes. A lot of artists feels, book me for a show. I've had artists tell me, book me for a show in the US so I could get my visa. Book me for a show in the UK, because they think automatically, because they're on that show, they'll be able to travel, and they become disappointed. So for the artists that's listening today, I'm going to ask Ms. Brown to explain to you the procedure, because it's not as simple as a lot of artists think when it comes to this. I want to show in the US, I want to show in the Caribbean, I want to show in the UK, and I'm in Africa and Jamaica, and I only have one song on my my YouTube, but it has 1,000 hits. No. So I want you understand what I'm saying, yes, Ms. Brown?
Absolutely,
Yes.
absolutely. I can give you a number of examples of where I think, as I said earlier, we need to change our mindset. What we must stop doing is booking shows, booking artists, promoting shows, promoting artists, selling tickets, taking people's money before a visa has been confirmed. That is a downward spiral. Once a promoter or a manager or even an artist gets a reputation for tickets being sold, people parting with their hard-earned cash, and then there's a visa problem, that could have been for the most minor of mistakes. I have seen artists being refused visas because the person making the visa application has put the first name and the second name the other way around. The middle name became the first name, and the first name became the middle name. And the immigration more than one time refused that visa, saying, you have provided us with information that is contrary to that as described on your passport.
Oh.
And so we consider that your character and conduct is not conducive to the public good for you to be granted entry to the UK. Now, had that artist had the visa application done by a legal professional, that minor mistake would not have happened. And of course, you know that the world is now such a small place.
Mm-hmm.
And many visa applications for many countries in the world actually ask you the question, have you ever been refused a visa for any other country? And of course, with everything now easily accessible electronically, if you try to blag it and say no, of course, they already know the answers to some of the questions they're asking you. They're just testing your honesty and your integrity to see whether or not you will provide an honest answer. And so I cannot emphasize strongly enough, as you would protect your image, as you would protect your artist's image, you need to protect their immigration credibility. It is so vitally important. And the situation that you had with your visa and your passport about to expire before you were able to take on your return journey, had you gone to a lawyer, that wouldn't have happened, because we are alive and alert to that detail.
Yes. Yes. And even the embassy was saying, when I booked my ticket, the young man did ask me when was my passport expiring. I told him April. And then they said, actually, if I had told him April 7th, he would not have been able to book the ticket. I just said April, as in the month of April, but I didn't give the date. So he said, if I had told him April 7th, he would have told me that I would have to move my flight 2 more weeks up, or cut it in short by 2 weeks.
Absolutely.
You see,
Absolutely.
and these little details, and I wasn't even thinking, I lost so much money on that little detail.
Absolutely.
Yes. So immigration and this traveling, you have to be precise. Artists have to realize that the little mistake could ground you forever.
Absolutely. And there's also another element to this as well. Of course, you know, within a law firm that the environment is confidential, your documents are kept safe. They're not accessible to anybody outside of the office. And I have, on more than 10 occasions, had to deal with a matter, an urgent matter, where important documents were left in a manager's car, and the car was stolen.
Wow.
Was left in a garage and was stolen. Was left on a train and was lost. And so was left on a dining table, and the child of the manager took it to school with homework. And so if you go to people to do such important, sensitive, confidential work that is not held confidentially, it creates lots and lots of problems, because bearing in mind that more often than not, you have to disclose the contents of your bank account.
Yes.
You have to disclose your bank account details. And who would want those sensitive personal details in a non-confidential environment?
Yes.
So people, we really need to wise up, and we need to take this thing seriously, because if we don't hear, we must what? We must feel.
We must feel. Yeah. And this is a time, people, because not too many people are traveling now because of the COVID. So this is a time actually to get your ducks in a row, especially if you plan to travel in 2021, 22, because we don't know how long it's going to take. I always say 22 because I give 2021 as the relaxed stage. That's like, okay, we went through 20, here come 21, 22, when we're going to start doing work again. So this is definitely the time for you guys to get your ducks in a row if you want to travel and build your career. So we're gonna go, DJ, you did music with radio, and during COVID, what has been your experience?
Okay, on the radio side, as we're discussing earlier, our numbers have really went up tremendously
Mhm.
since COVID. Um, I guess that's because more people are home.
Mhm.
Could be the fact that music, it's one of those things that soothes the mind sometimes, because when you think about it, we're in an environment of this social distancing. And when you think about it, as human beings, we're social people. You know what I mean?
Mhm.
So
Yeah, I know I am.
when that is being taken away, sometimes you have those where you have the psychological effect as not being able to have that social part of you, and music, I think, is one of those things that a lot of people turn to during that time. So on the radio side, it's numbers have gone up tremendously.
Like that's really good. Yeah, I think earlier we spoke about that. The numbers, I've noticed an increase with numbers, and because people are at home and they're doing their thing more in the house, and they're listening more to online radio. I know now online radios are popping up everywhere. So artists, get your music together, clean production music, and send
Exactly.
it to these DJs, because clean is
No, the thing
I
is,
think that's a different subject.
no, it's very important when you say clean, because
Yes.
I've had artists send me music. They know that I'm on radio. Now, there's a time and there's a place for everything. Radio is not the place for that mess. You know what I mean?
Right.
So
Yes.
if you're going to send music to a radio person, why are you going to send that? And that's why, the thing is, everything that I get, I have to listen to from
Yes.
start to finish. And it doesn't matter who it is, because I've been burned more than one time and I decided it's not going to happen again,
Yeah.
you know. And you shouldn't really have to as artists, it should be that thing like it's radio.
Right. Because you had to get a license for your radio, right? Your online radio. When we first started, I know when I first started in 2009, 2010, we didn't need a license. Anyone could have put up an online radio station. When I first started ZinCab Radio, I think I used Sam Broadcaster. They were just starting out. We
Hmm.
were just attached to the server and we went live. When I restarted Africa Radio a couple years ago, now we have to get the licensing, the creative license. So now it's like offline radio, and we also have to be careful with the regulations now with the words that we could play.
Hmm.
And it's why I tell the artists, don't send me music that you want your children to listen to.
Yes.
If you don't want your children to listen to it, I'm not listening to it. So send me clean music, because now as online radio station, they're holding us accountable, which they never did before. So times are changing, and COVID has sped up the technology. Everything is now fast forward with technology, with radio, with productions and everything. People are producing. I do my podcast sometimes on my phone,
Hmm.
which never before you had to have the whole setup. Now with Anchor, I could just go to the phone and record my podcast and I'm good to go. So with technology speeding up, but then come the rules and the regulation. So Sharifa, with your music that you're doing, how has 2020 affected it, if it affected it at all?
Well, with my music, seeing that I'm just really getting started, it hadn't affected me at all. Um, I'm blessed. That's all I can
Yes,
say.
you are.
I'm really blessed, because once again, it's not my timing, but it's God's timing. And God just, I mean, when I literally speak of this, He literally just laid it in my hand, because Rose is my manager. And I wasn't even thinking about doing a song or anything. And I was laying on my couch, and I go to sleep about 3 o'clock in the morning, and then I wake up about 6 o'clock. So that's I've done that all my life. So I require about 3 hours of sleep. But I have fallen asleep, and I woke up, and God just gave me the words to strong women. And when I tell you that he gave it to me, I just started singing. And I didn't like the melody nor the tune that I was singing in. And that's what I was telling you. I sent it over to Zimbabwe for Lucky Pet Bull to produce it and everything. And when I tell you that when I listen to it and I actually sing it, I feel every word and I clench on every word, because those are the words that God gave me. I didn't do this. God did this. So the pandemic hadn't affected me. It has really enhanced me.
And that's a beautiful thing. Yeah, I say when you are in tune with what's going on in the universe makes the way for things to happen for you. Let's take the moment to welcome our next guest, Miss Rosalind. Hello, welcome. Rosalind is a business development expert, and she described herself as a social entrepreneur and a strategic marketing consultant, and gifted in identifying issues or insight to unlock opportunities for brand and social marketing. So welcome, Rosalind. I know you were on earlier, so we are actually going to let you rest your voice, and we're glad you made it. So go ahead and tell us a little about yourself besides what I said, and let us know what you do in the music industry.
Okay. Can you hear me?
Perfect. You're wonderful.
Okay. Thank you. Thank you so much. It's a pleasure to join the panel. It's a pleasure to meet all of you. So my kind of entry into the music industry is recent, about the last 4 years. Prior to that, my background was mostly corporate in the private sector in brand management, and then working with multinationals like Unilever and Coca-Cola. And then I went into the NGO sector, where I was a business development person, program management, partnerships. But my last kind of exposure with my previous employer was with the British Council. And I was manager for partnerships and business development there. That's British Council in Kenya, Nairobi, Kenya office. And I got exposed to the performing arts. And I kind of felt this was where my home is. So when I eventually left British Council, I joined another organization that works with identifying talented young people. And I joined them to set up their business development department, but ended up being in a position to use all of the skills that I had gained in my previous life to help in terms of forming partnerships, getting sponsors, getting partners for our programs. So I work with an organization and a consortium of organizations that put together a made-for-TV talent search called Talanta Mtaani, which is part of a larger youth empowerment program where we are looking for alternative sources of livelihood for young people. The unemployment rate in Kenya is very high. It's about 24%. And that's mainly for the young people between the ages of 19 and 35. So the entertainment industry offers an alternative livelihood pathway. So we provide a platform to identify talent, and we focus on vulnerable youth from informal settlements and less fortunate areas. And we give them an opportunity to audition, and we package that into a TV show. So that airs on one of the leading national TV stations, giving them an amazing platform. So even just the fact that they get to audition, helps them to reach an audience they may not have had an opportunity to reach. But we don't just stop there. We then give them training. So we've developed our own curriculum. It's a tailor-made curriculum for the performing arts industry. And then that equips them with skills to enable them to monetize their talent, which is really amazing. And then we provide linkages with industry players so that they can actually grow and get work and stay, with a livelihood. So that has been kind of my entry into the industry. The bulk of our talented artists are from the music industry, although the scope of the talent search is broad. It's the America's Got Talent, British Got Talent kind of model, where we welcome any type of talent. We get all types of things, ventriloquists, magicians, acrobats. It's really crazy. But the bulk are musicians. Yeah.
Kenya has some very great musicians. I know I worked with a couple of musicians from Kenya about
Yeah.
7 years ago. Lyndon
Wow.
Jam and Lyndon Jam was one
Wow.
of them. And
Mhm.
I can't remember the last one name, but they both became
Yeah.
Artists of the Year when I was working with them in Kenya.
Wow.
Yeah, so
Amazing.
oh, and I have a producer from Kenya too that produced one
Okay.
of my favorite rhythm, the Be
Mm.
Blessed rhythm. So that was a while
Mm.
back. But I know Kenya
Okay.
has some very amazing talent. And I
Yes.
also noticed, I also worked with the British Council in Ghana. They
Ah,
were one of our
that's
supporter. We got a grant for 5,000 Ghana CDs from them.
Mhm.
And I wanted to
Okay.
ask you about, I am an advocate for the Sustainable Development Goals. So
Yes.
girl child education and women empowerment. So how are you
Yes.
incorporating the SDGs with what
Yes.
you're doing now with the artists?
Yeah. Well, that's such a great question. And it's interesting because our focus from around 2019 has been to focus on the SDGs 4, 8, and 10, which have to do with persons with disabilities.
Ah,
So, yes.
which many people
So,
are not doing. Great.
Yeah. So we've gotten into a partnership with a social enterprise called Signs Media Kenya, and they have a broadcasting station which broadcasts in sign language with voice as an override. It's so amazing. They're the only ones in the world. We understand. They've actually won some awards for being the first fully sign language TV. So all their programming is in sign language. They have entertainment shows, they have news shows, they have dramas, and all of it is in sign language. So voice is the secondary, So we have partnered with them, and now we have a offshoot of our Talanta Mtaani TV show, which we call Talanta Mtaani Inclusive. And what we do is we encourage persons with disabilities to try out for the auditions, and we give them a platform. And that has been just a game changer for us. So that's how we are trying to play our role in achievement of the SDGs, but then also the other SDGs that have to do with employability. So ensuring that people have a livelihood, have a decent and dignity in their work.
Right,
So we
right.
have, so that's the kind of approach that we take.
Oh, I commend you for taking on the challenge with the SDGs. When I was at the United Nations a couple of years ago and I first heard about it, it just lit a fire in me. So I made
Yeah.
part of my organization goals and also my company goals. I even have a class teaching people how to incorporate the SDGs with the corporate social responsibilities, because it's so very important that we do advocate for these goals. If you guys don't know what the SDGs, it's the United Nations Sustainable Development Goals, 17 goals for a better planet by 2030. So I'm an advocate, strong. I go and I hold, which for Miss Roseanne, I will speak to you later, because we do African Youths and Sustainable Development panel, and the next one is January 30th. So I would love to have you on that, but I'll talk to you some more about it as we move on. We just had our last one a month ago, and we had over 2,000 views, and the feedback was tremendous. It was tremendous because we have to motivate and encourage the youths, with African having the larger population in the world, the largest youth population in the world. I try to do a lot with the youth. I have a lot of sons and daughters in Africa. It's like I collect them. But as we go on, I don't know if you met Hillary yet, or have you met Sharifa, or have you met Jimmy? So
I've met Sharifa.
Yes,
Sharifa, but not Hillary yet.
Oh, okay. Well, what we'll do, since Grace is here, we're gonna allow Grace, and then everyone is just gonna give a little brief. Hi, Grace, can you hear us? Speak up a little, Grace, yes? Grace?
Yes.
Hi, how are you?
I'm good. How are you?
I'm wonderful. Are you also from Kenya?
Yes, I am.
Yeah, you women are gorgeous. We're
Thank
all,
you.
we're all gorgeous women, so we always have to do our best. Welcome, Grace. How are you today?
I'm very well. How are you all doing?
I'm wonderful, and we welcome you to the Bridging the Gap 2020 conference. And as you know, we're here discussing the music industry, making an impact beyond 2020, beyond the COVID for the industry. So I just want you to take this time, put you right on the hot seat. There's no time to breathe. Get right back on the hot seat. And tell us, tell us a little bit about yourself and what you do and how you move around in the music industry. Africa is alive today.
Yes, we are. Thank you so much for having me on the panel. My name is Grace Washori. I'm currently working as an acting secretary for the Association of Startups and SMEs Enablers of Kenya, ASEC. I also work at B-Lab East Africa as the community and engagement lead. And that B-Lab is all about empowering businesses that are using their business as a force for good. Businesses that usually look into considering purpose with as much rigor as they do profit. And in my own capacity, I'm a wellness coach, and I have worked with Rosin before with Talanta Mtaani to get the youth from my community to be able to equip them with business skills. The youth that have the talent, how do we change that talent into viable businesses? And businesses that are not just there to just meet commercial needs, but also meet the social needs and environmental needs in our communities, which in Africa, you know, that will be a lot of this, the basic of those needs. So my role has been to be the integrator of these businesses with really of the artists that come through, the young artists that come through with Talanta. We've also worked with the University of Murang'a, and I've worked with Equity Bank Foundation, where we've been able to equip them with skills that turn the talent into business. And I come in as a capacity of a wellness coach where I'm able to touch on emotional intelligence, how as an artist, if you're fully aware of yourself, right? If you know who you are, what's your personality, what is your locus of control, what drives you, what triggers you, right? How are you able to understand yourself to be able to manage yourself? And aside from that, how do you understand the environment around you? So there are so many talented people around them. There's so many artists around them. There's so many managers around them. How are you able to work in collaboration with all these other players? And you cannot be able to do that if you do not have some key self-awareness skills, some key emotional intelligence skills. And that is where I bring in the role when I work with Talanta to be able to just equip them with that. And even with COVID-19, we've seen, you know, everyone across the world has faced a lot of challenges emotionally, being removed from situations and environments where you're able to interact with other people face to face. Being behind a screen, it becomes very lonely. And right, it becomes very lonely. Aside from being lonely, it's become a lot of people have had to move from areas where in urban areas to rural areas where they don't have that source of income. So they have been, you know, the self-esteem has taken a hit. They've been removed from environments where they felt they were ruling, where they had control over. That control has been taken away. And these are hits that come to the self-esteem into the person just as a normal human behavior. It will make you feel worse about yourself. And we've seen cases where, you know, depression has set in. So how do we deal with that situation where depression has set in and be able to have skills to just get out of that atmosphere and be able to use what you have in hand, right? There's so many things that we have in hand that we don't need to have to get financial resources from areas where we'll be in debt, but using just what you have in hand to be able to make progress every day. I've talked a lot, but that's me in a nutshell.
No, you haven't talked a lot. I'm going to say this, the best course I took about 2 years ago that changed my whole entire life was an emotional intelligence course. That course changed my life completely. Not knowing that emotional intelligence is much better than having intelligence like IQ. And it helped me to deal with people better. I became a better person after I took that course because now I know this person is dealing from a level of their emotions, has nothing to do with me.
Exactly.
And when I start analyzing emotional intelligence. I was like, wow, this tool here, it's a wonderful thing. So incorporating it in the music industry with the artists, because you know, a lot of artists, they're hothead, they blow off the top. I saw artists in Zimbabwe kick someone off the stage. Did you see it, Sharifa? There was an artist in Zimbabwe, and one of the fans got on the stage, and he literally kicked him. Like, he stood up and he kicked him. He did a jump kick, kicked him off the stage, and like 2 days later, he's apologizing. Did you see it? She's laughing. And I was like, these artists today, there's something else. He didn't want anyone on the stage with him. He just wanted his own thing. But these are your fans. So emotional intelligent.
And you said a mouthful when you said these are your fans, because your fans can make you or your fans can break you. And if it wasn't for the fans, you would be nothing. Right. And that's what I try to humble myself and remind myself, I'm not all that in a bag of potato chip. I'm just Sharifa. You see what you get. I'm not trying to be no more than what I am. God has blessed me with a talent, and if I can share it with others, so be it. But I would never belittle any fan or anybody just for my ego, because I don't have an ego, because I've been there, done that. And when you my age and have been on that road, you know. But the young people that's coming up today, they have no sense of direction. They think that they're it, but you can rise to grace and you can fall by grace today.
Yes, yes. So that emotional intelligence, I commend you on that. I think it's a course you should put online. I think you should be doing Zooms after Zoom. I will definitely come and be part of it because it's so well needed. Emotional intelligence for artists.
Yes,
that's your new course.
I like it. Yeah.
Yeah, that's your new Zoom course. You need some help? Let me know. Trust me, I have no problem. I love emotional intelligence.
Thank you for that.
For Rosalind and Grace, I have an immigration attorney for you guys. Yes.
Thank you. Yeah.
Hillary Brown.
I actually liked a lot about what she said, because I've seen artists in my community that have gone to the US and disappear, they get stuck there and they don't have the needed paperwork.
They get stuck or they make themselves stuck.
Yeah. And something happens back home and they can't even come and participate in that because they know there's no other route. If they get out, that's it, which is very sad, very, very sad. I think it's important to emphasize that we should have the right papers whenever we go overseas. We should obey the laws of the land in the land we find ourselves in, because as an artist, just performing for entertainment, you also a role model for some child somewhere, and you need to conduct yourself as a leader.
Yeah, and we have a DJ for you to send your music to.
Hi, how are you?
We're just hooking everyone up, so you'll get his contact. Highness Zion Radio, Zion Highness Radio. It's been on the air for over 13 plus years.
Yes,
great.
Yeah,
nice to meet you.
Yeah. Nice to meet you also. Yeah. And talking about moving on, networking is one of the things that builds strength, because in every aspect, each person's knowledge helps the other in some way. For example, with emotional intelligence, also as DJs, as radio presenters, in every aspect of life, when you think about it, it's very, very, very important. And the legal aspect, Miss Brown, brings a lot, that each one of us in what we do, and we're all trying to provide something positive to the entertainment industry, so I think networking also is a great way of improving each other, and then having a sight of where we're looking at, because we're all in the entertainment, doing things in the entertainment industry, but we're looking from different windows. And if we familiarize each other with the windows that we're looking for, then we can move on, with getting better results in the future.
Wow. And that's so true, because everyone needs help. Even the strongest person will tell you that they don't need help, but somewhere along the line, they need help. They're just afraid to ask for help. So networking comes in, and this is the new networking. This is what we're doing now. It's no longer going to conferences. I know I'm a network guru. I go to 1 million events every year. I could go to at least 30 events a year, networking, red carpet, seminars, everything, because that's how I network and that's how I meet people. So this is like my 5th Zoom session this week. Networking. So I'm living behind the screen. I went to the Ghana Tech Summit. I went to the Nigerian Tech Summit. I went to Corruption Summit in Guyana. I went to a Women's Summit in the UK. I did my women's show Wednesday, and I'm here today. So we sitting at home and we're networking. This is our new networking. So we definitely have to find ways to incorporate everyone in what we do in order to reach the masses. And when Grace, when I attended the SDG Honors this year, it was so much better because normally I go to the United Nations and attend it there in New York. But this year, I attended it online and I was able to visit all 3 screens because I had one stage on my laptop, one stage on my phone, and another stage on my computer. So I was able to just look and I said, oh, this is so much better because if I'm at the UN at a physical summit, when they have it, I could only be in one conference room at one time. So we definitely have to, network and make the best of it. Do anyone have any questions for each other? Let's talk amongst ourselves. Do you guys have any questions for each other?
Well,
I don't have a question, but I have an observation. And one of the things that I have long been trying to do is try to look at the different components of the industry and enable that component, for instance, to be a roadie. Enable there to be some academic qualifications or accreditations to upskill our people to be the best roadie that they can. Because there are a huge amount of initiatives, events, going on where there are catastrophes because the people that we take around the world with us are not skilled at doing the job we require them to do.
Yes.
So we really have to look at every component of our industry and start to set standards, start to raise the standards. And emotional intelligence is something that we should be equipping our artists and our entourage and every person that works with us in this industry. It is part of the toolkit that we should be able to pass to them to enable them to do the best job they can possibly do for this industry.
That is so true. Emotional intelligence is utmost important, especially now in this day and time. It is the most important thing that we could give to ourselves, to give ourselves peace of mind. Someone else had a thought?
I think for me, my other thought, we've talked about networking, I think collaborations as well. Aside from just networking, but going into collaborations is also very vital. I've seen the power of collaborations here in the artistic industry where different players in a value chain, for lack of a better word, come together to be able to provide those key services our artists need. Working in silos will take us in our own individual fields far, a bit faster. But when we work together collaboratively and in the spirit of interdependence, knowing that we cannot get to our end goal alone, but we need each other, then we go farther together. Not in the spirit of competitiveness, but collaboration.
Right,
absolutely.
Right. Cooperative cooperation. And that's so important. And you've said it, it's not a competition. It really is. This is why I'm very happy that they integrated goal number 17 in the goals, because partnership for the goals is what's going to make it possible to achieve the goals. And with anything, partnership is the best policy. I'm definitely going to be with you ladies to interview you separate on my show, Women Wednesday, because your voices are wonderful, your voices are powerful, and your voices need to be heard. So any audience that I know that needs your voice, I will definitely reach out to you guys and put your voice there, because there's a lot of people that they don't have the platform, to speak it. So do it. So, Sharifa, I'm so intrigued by her. She's a runner, athletic, turned musician. Keep going back to. I'm going to her house and sit right there by that fireplace and have mimosa.
Wait a minute, look, it's like I'm telling you, you all, you don't understand. And I'm listening to all of you all speak and everything, and I'm just so fascinated. And the knowledge that you all are throwing out is just like, it's like a sponge. I'm absorbing it because I need it, because this is another stepping stone for me, because like I said, I've never done it before. And Rose has been holding my hand and everything, but you all are just phenomenal. I'm just so blessed and so humble to be in your presence.
She was singing a song in her bathroom. Someone took it and put music to it. Now she's an artist. I want that. I'm going to go sing in my bathroom and record it.
Well, and you know what the thing about it is, I had 3 cell phones. I had one plug in this ear and then the other one. Then I had this phone on, then I was singing it 3 or 4 different ways, because he said sing it 3 or 4 different ways so I can blend it and everything. So I was saying soprano, then I go into my falsetto, and then I would go alto, and then a tenor or bass, because I could do all of them. And so we were like going back and forth. I'm like, no, we need to change this. But then once everything came together, when I heard it, I was walking the dog, and when he sent it to me and heard it, I just broke down and cried. Wow. I mean, I literally just cried, because the song, I just could not believe what he did with that song, and the song that God gave me. And it's just, I can't even explain it. If you knew my heart and my spirit and my soul, it's just, and what I've been through for 20 years, and for God to let it come to light like this, I can't even express it.
Yeah. It's emotional.
You've expressed it adequately, my sister. You've expressed it. We hear you loud and clear, and we're so humbled and honored to be in your presence.
DJ is waiting for that song, right?
Oh no, I already have that song.
Oh,
Actually, I've had the pleasure. I've had the pleasure to converse with the Olympian singer-songwriter.
Yes. And it was great. Thank you so much.
Because when I'm into music, I'm an avid track fanatic.
Okay.
It's one of the biggest track events that happen and I mean period is the pen relays, and I do not miss the pen relays. And Rose, oh gosh. Oh, Rose. I met Rose through music, and get to understand that Rose also works actively in track and fields.
Rose works. She never stops. Do Rose sleep? No.
Nope.
Does she eat? No.
No, she doesn't sleep. She doesn't eat. I mean, I'm like at 3 o'clock, 4 o'clock, and then I see Rose up post something. I'm like, you up the same time? I'm up, Rose. Come on, let's get some sleep.
I'm looking at my phone. I'm like, the Rose know it's 3 a.m. She's, oh, well, Africa, fantastic. Lady B, Africa is up, Kenya is up, Ghana is up. Why are you not up? Like, I'm in America, Rose. I'm in America.
Hey, listen, and before we leave, we have to wish her happy birthday, because I know tomorrow's her birthday.
Yes. I don't even know if she's there. We could bring her on. Rose, are you there, or is just your picture?
No, Rose, Rose, I know you're hearing us, yes. And this Jam is saying it, and you're hiding behind the screens. Come on, turn that mic on.
Turn that mic on. Mic us up. Mic us up. Mic us all up. Oh, I thought that was her sending me a message like, no, Lady B. No. I met Rose a couple years ago, long time ago. I don't even know when, where, or how, but we have never met in person. Never met in person. And I'm in Charlotte, North Carolina, and she's in Boston. And I go all day around the time, but I told her one day we'll just have to meet. But we talked for like 2-3 hours on the phone. She cracks me up. And I remember when she was doing a conference in Zimbabwe, I was supposed to go and be part of, that conference. So I didn't have the opportunity, or I think something happened and it was canceled, but she's definitely a go-getter. She's definitely a go-getter. And she's very loyal and committed to her word. And that's what I love about her. She's very loyal and committed to her word. And she loves all you guys. So Lady B, they're going to be on. Rosalind is there. Hillary is there. Grace is there. Sharif is there. Da, 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 da. And I said, oh, I know DJ already. She said, okay, but da, 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 da. So I said, okay, Rose, we're gonna do it. And everyone to get to meet me and know what I do. But I'm loving this. I think we still have like 30 minutes left. So
I want to
free
say
for
this,
all.
Mr. DJ, there we talked, and this is the first time when I saw him when he came out. I'm like, I think I talked to him on the phone. I interviewed, but I remember we didn't get to see each other. It was through the telephone. So I put a face with his name and stuff. I'm like, that's him. So I'm like, yeah, that's him.
Hillary, I love your accent. Are you born and raised in the UK?
Yes, in Wales.
And your family are all European?
No, my family are Yemeni and Caribbean.
Which part of the Caribbean?
Barbados and Jamaica.
The other side.
Wales.
Yeah.
I love Wales.
I love her accent.
I've been to Cardiff.
That's where I am right now.
That's where in Cardiff. I love Cardiff. When you walk down the street, everyone say, hiya.
Absolutely. Absolutely. I'm right now, I'm in a place called Tiger Bay.
Mm-hmm.
Google it, research it. It's the oldest settled Black community in the United Kingdom.
Tiger Bay. I'll definitely look it up.
Tiger Bay.
And that's in the UK.
It's in Wales. It's in Cardiff.
It's Wales. Okay.
Yeah. UK is the country.
Okay.
Wales is the country, the devolved administration. Cardiff is the city.
In Wales.
And Tiger Bay is the area
Okay.
that I'm in right now.
I know of the Prince of Wales.
Over by Tiger Bay. It's on the water, right?
It is, yes,
Mhm.
it is.
Yeah.
Yes. Rosalind, what does the future hold for the talent competition, and how is COVID COVID put a dent in it, if not,
Yes.
and how do you plan to proceed, say 2021, 22?
Yeah, thank you for that. Well, the future is quite bright for Talanta Mtaani. We had to become very innovative when COVID hit, because our model is to have live auditions where you have hundreds and hundreds of youth showing up, and then we take them through auditions through in front of a panel of judges. So we had to change our model. And what we did was, first of all, we adhered to the government guidelines for protocols for any type of event. So we stopped the large initial auditions, and we asked we're in season 5 right now. So what we did is we said, the call for auditions was send in a WhatsApp video, a 1-minute clip, and then we go through a shortlisting process, and then only those who make it through the shortlisting are invited for the live auditions, and we're able to space them out so that we do them with in accordance with COVID protocols. So they come a few at a time, and even our judges are fewer, and we just manage the setup in a way that is safe for everybody. So that has worked quite well. We have also, I think, grown in terms of the collaborative space. So we've been really focusing on collaborations, on virtual exchanges, which was something that we were not doing as much of before COVID. So we've actually benefited from the situation. We've been applying for a lot of grants that have to do with virtual collaborations, and it's made us to grow. So for us, it's been almost a blessing in disguise in some ways. And in the country, there have been some support from the government for artists. There was funding that was made available for artists in the creative industry. What the government did was they came up with a a work for pay model. And then they released some funding to some government bodies, like there's a Kenya National Theatre, Cultural Center, there's a Permanent Presidential Music Commission. There are various institutions. So funding was channeled through them, and artists were asked to apply with a proposal for a piece of work that they wanted to produce. And then that went through some screening, and then they were, so they got work to do. So there's been some enablers in the environment which have helped us to kind of get through this season, but it has been extremely difficult in terms of resources, because we survived very much on advertising revenue. Our business model is that the TV show, we produce the TV show, and then our media partner helps us to sell for airtime. So we make money when we have a title sponsor and things like that. That covers the production costs, etc. So we've had challenges because our sponsors are challenged. So the money's not coming as it used to. So it has been very difficult, but we have managed to not lose 1 week on air. We've been on air every week. So we've managed to produce our shows. And we've also had to diversify our source of revenue. So we have a voting platform. A USSD voting platform is part of the competition, where it's a percentage of votes comes from the judges, and then a percentage comes from the public. And that public voting platform is a revenue earner for us, so that helps as well, because people have to pay for every vote that they make, and that really does come through to help us a lot.
Oh, that's
in terms of revenue.
interesting. How much do they pay for the votes?
It's 10 shillings per vote. So that's about what, 10 cents per vote.
That's interesting. I like that.
Yeah. So that has really helped us. And we've commercialized it. So that platform we also make available to other people who have competition. So we're able to commercialize that.
Oh, you definitely have to make that available to me.
Yeah. Kenya's very ahead in terms of mobile money.
Kenya.
Yeah.
The fastest growing technology hub in Africa.
Yes.
Each Kenya has 2.5 cell phones.
Mm-hmm.
So I've heard that they have the per person in Kenya, 2.5 cell phones. Most advanced internet in Africa is in Kenya. Nairobi, yes? They said Nairobi.
Yes, correct.
So I'm not even surprised that you guys are able to monitorize. I know I'm saying that wrong. The system. Yes, the system in where they would pay to vote. Interesting. Yeah. Very interesting. And that helped tremendously.
Yeah.
With your bottom line. And you're utilizing WhatsApp for your auditions.
Yes.
Yeah, I use WhatsApp for my SDG classes. I've educated over 800 people on WhatsApp alone with certificates for the SDGs. So WhatsApp has become the platform to go to. I really love WhatsApp. I do a lot on WhatsApp. So it's really, really been interesting. So with Ms. Grace, with moving forward, say, beyond this pandemic that we have, that we're trying our best to breed and go through, what do you see the future holding for your industry?
Well, the future for sure is digital. I think by converting to digital, we have realized there's so much savings that happens, right? So we don't have to pay for offices anymore. We don't have to pay for internet anymore, in the scale that you would have even in an office. You don't have to pay for the overhead. So there's a huge consideration in working from home, and that's across everywhere. And so how do we leverage on that working from home? Bringing resources that will enable us to work from home and tap from home, giving resources that people can work from home, but also convening smaller groups to be able to continue that learning, to be able to learn from each other relate on each other. There's something that we would love to see. We'd love to see more mentorship, right? We'd want to see more mentorship within our artists. For the people that have gone before, the ones that are there and the ones that are coming, how can we be able to learn from each other, from the experiences that we've seen as they go through these programs? Also having like a buddy system where they just check on each other to be able to make sure that they're doing well. So going forward, it's going to be digital. We just need to innovatively come up with solutions that will enable them to learn not just the technical pieces, not just expose them and create awareness for them, but also ensure that their mental health is good as they develop that talent and convert it to viable businesses. Because with the talent is amazing, but can you be able to live off that talent? If you're not able to do that, you're seen as an artist, you're seen as a big person, there's all these big expectations, especially here in Africa. You're on TV, you must be making money. So how are you going to be able to balance, right? How are you going to be able to balance that and ensure that even with the little money that comes in, that you're actually managing that money properly so that it secures your future for you? So there's an angle of understanding yourself, there's an angle of the technical pieces, there's an angle of that awareness, but also how do you develop wealth from the little that you're making as it tickles in? Yes. How you're able to invest to ensure that you make that pool bigger. So going forward, I believe there's going to be a shift where even with just COVID-19 and the economic impact that it's had, a very adverse economic impact, normal jobs will not be available. So it's going back to the talents that we have, it's going back to the skills that we have and innovating those to become sources of livelihoods and being able to work collaboratively to get that bigger picture.
Wow. Yeah. Thank you so much for that. Mm-hmm. My only concern is about those that will be left behind, those that do not have the technology, those that do not have, say the ones in the village, say the ones in the communities and where internet is still lacking. So that's still something I'm trying to wrap my head around, because even the conferences that I do go to at the UN, where it's all digital, but there's a lot of people that could attend in person. They could have flied out of their country or whatever the case may be, they wouldn't be able to attend as far as digital because the internet in the country is so poor. And see, so go ahead.
Allow me to interject and say, I've seen this in Kenya where we have solutions that are text message solutions. We call it USSD, where you're able to send out mass text messages on the main networks, telecom networks, and you're able to ask specific questions even without a smartphone on the normal. I don't know what we call it, the normal phone, the
regular phone.
Yeah, the regular phone. Here we call it kabambe, Kabambe. In Kenya we call it kabambe. With that regular phone that is not a smartphone, it's not internet enabled, but just receiving text messages, you're able to answer the questions that you're being asked, and you're able to get the information that you need to ask. There's actually like a menu where you can have 5 choices and you answer and it's like really, you keep getting the answers that you need as you answer this. So that's an option that we've seen working here very well. And I know Talanta Mtaani has that options when it comes to even voting. And for Talanta Mtaani, the unique thing about it is they seek the talent out in the actual villages. They go to the actual county.
I'm happy to hear that.
Right? They have road shows. They have videos that are perpetuated on WhatsApp, on social media channels. They even have sometimes the mainstream TV. We have free-to-air channels here that are you don't even pay for them. They are available across the country, and there are 5 national television channels. And through these channels, you don't need internet for that. You just need a TV set, a basic TV set, and this information will be able to be channeled. Actually, Talanta Mtaani sits on one of the big networks called KTN, and everyone is able to access it. So that's a unique value proposition that Talanta Mtaani brings, and we are so happy to be associated with it because we know it's going to reach, right, that go beyond the urban reach, go beyond the techie savvy people, and actually get to the real people that actually need these solutions.
Yeah. I'm happy to hear that. That warms my heart. I'm very happy to hear that. DJ, what do you think? What do your future look like after this COVID?
Well, I think after COVID-19, or during COVID-19, as radio personnel, as broadcasters, one of the things that we have to keep in mind and be very aware of is make sure that the information that we put out are factual and not just rumors or how you feel, and sifting and getting right information in there. So it's not just about music and putting out good music, but it's making people aware. And if you're going to make people aware, you want to bring factual information and not just something that you've heard. And I use something, like sometimes, I'll see this big text and say, this artist have died, right? And a lot of people right then would jump on it. You have to go look at the information, because there's been I can't even count them on my fingers the times that has happened, and it's not so. And that's just a minor example, but there are other things we have to make sure that we put those information out. And again, moving along with technology, because we know a lot of things are changing, a lot of things have changed, and a lot of things will change. And we're seeing changes happen more rapidly. So we just have to be in that position, flexible. We have to be very flexible to change, because if we're not in the industry, and that goes for artists, presenters, promoters, managers, if you're not flexible, you're going to be left behind.
Yeah, that's true. You have to, what do we call it? Rebrand yourself. It's all about rebranding, like you say. Like I say, I'm a radio personality, so this is new, being on camera. And, when I first started Zoom, I felt like my face was always have to smile. I was always like this. And at the end of the session, my whole face would be hurting. So it took me a while to realize I don't always have to be like, oh.
Well, that's good face exercise, though.
And a lot of people are suffering Zoom anxiety. When you're not used to being on Zoom, so it's becoming a new thing with Zoom anxiety. Queen Brown, go back to you and what you're doing with the immigration laws, the visas and stuff. I know that after COVID, there's going to be a flood. There's going to be a rush. How do you foresee it? How do you foresee the future with that coming? How are you preparing for it?
I'm always prepared. I'm always prepared. I think what COVID has done is forced governments to work smarter.
Yes.
And I think what COVID has done has forced governments to work in a way that benefits us, because no longer do our clients have to queue in a long line on a main road outside an embassy in a hostile environment, in hot, sweaty, unsafe conditions, where governments have now just accepted, just send in the passport with a courier. Yeah. So I think COVID has really galvanized governments' focus on how can we work smarter. And when governments work smarter, we benefit. We benefit. But what we can't do is, as you raised the point, leave people behind, because I still deal with people who have English as a second language, little or no literacy, no access to any type of technology, where I am reuniting families who have been split with, refugee asylum issues. And so we have to work better and smarter, but we still have to offer the very basic, simple access to our services. Because if we make it too IT techie savvy, we lose an awful lot of our clients, and we would not want to do that.
Yes, yes.
So it's about knowing where development can help, and it's about knowing where staying and sticking to the basics also helps. It's about being all things to all people.
Yes. Because right now people are being separated. The aspect of human contact last year is non-existent. I'm a hugger.
Absolutely.
If I want to reach out, she say reach out and hug everybody. So I send
Absolutely.
virtual hugs. I'm a hugger. I'm always, I meet in a room. I know, thank you. Virtual hugs.
I'm a hugger as well.
I know, because that's warmth. You can feel
Absolutely.
a person when you hug them. You
Absolutely.
can feel if they're a warm person or not. I've hugged people
Yeah.
and I'm like, oh, I'm not hugging you again. You feel it.
We're social beings, and
Yes.
that's part of us.
Yes.
Like I said earlier, there are a lot of us who are suffering psychological effects from not being able to be social with folks. It's that part of it is it's not touched upon, but it's a very
It's hard.
mhm.
It's hard. I'm a social person. I'm always out with my friends. We have wine and wing Wednesdays. We have social Sundays, and I'm single. So going out with my friends, that's my thing. We are meeting at this restaurant. We would get dressed up, put on our outfit, put on our pearls, and we go out. And I've not been able to do that. And you sit at home and the COVID weight comes on, and you're all alone. So at first it was very hard. The first couple of months for me, April, May, June, it was very hard, very hard. And I couldn't cope for a while. I called one of my friends. I said, what am I going to do? She's like, you just got to do your best. Get online. Here I am.
And I'm the opposite, because when I deal with the track world and I come home, and I have lived by myself since my children been gone. And believe it or not, even when I lived in Lexington, Kentucky for 22 years, no one came to my house. I live here, no one comes to my house. When I come home from work at 6 o'clock, I'm watching Andy Griffith shows. I'm watching all those old shows back in the 60s and stuff like that. And I can watch the reruns over and over and over, and I'm fine. I am fine. And I would get on the phone and talk, and I'm a social media person, so I'm addicted to the telephone. So I'm on every social media page and stuff. So that I'm just happy as a bird, and I'm fine being home by myself. I don't want to be bothered except for the outside world through social media.
That's it. She's a social media girl. She's Aquarius, definitely. I love social media. I really do. Facebook, whoa, Facebook is whoa. So Rosalind, you wanted to add, leave no one left behind, including the deaf community. There is a tourism in Ghana, tourism company, and guess what they do? They do disability tours. I've never heard of that before. I was so blown away. I was shocked when they sent me the video. So they go to the schools with the deaf and the blind, visually impaired, and then they take them tours. Like they take them to the shopping malls. They take them to the parks. They take them to places like they never know. Like the guy, he went to Kwame Nkrumah statue, and he was deaf, not necessarily blind. So he said it was the first time someone actually took him and explained. He was saying sign language, and you could see the emotion, how he was trying to explain that this meant so much to someone that's visually impaired or, deaf. So no one should be left behind. And I think when we talk about the SDGs, the Sustainable Development Goals, we sometimes forget about those in disability. We're always talking about the health and wellness. I know I'm with the Girl Child Education. My platform is menstrual health. I'm for that because in some of the village, our girls are suffering with that. It's something that they're not educated about, and even the men. And sometimes when you want to get to the women, you have to go through the men in a lot of communities in Africa. So that's a challenge. But with the disability part, I know with that, those people sometimes are left behind. They really are. So you are really pushing forward in that community in your area. And I definitely would commend you about it. And I don't have, my foundation is not in Kenya, but it will be now. We'll definitely collaborate. Yeah. SDG 17. Partnership for the goals. And so I'm looking at grants too. So if I see any grants in Kenya, I would definitely like to collaborate with you on those, because it's $1.5 million in Ghana alone with federal grants. So I will check Kenya's and see what's available. And if it incorporate music, why? Heineken alone has a 60,000 grant just for events. And you put Heineken at the back. They'll
Mhm.
send you the signage and everything. It's just what we don't like to do, paperwork.
Mhm. Yeah.
And that's what it boils down to, taking the
Diligence.
time to do the paperwork, to do diligence.
Yeah.
We always, and that's why we don't get the money.
Mhm.
And we have to start doing the
Absolutely.
paperwork. As Ms. Brown said, that's the most important part of getting anything done,
Mm.
doing your paperwork. Yeah.
Yeah,
Yeah,
absolutely.
absolutely.
Yeah.
Mhm.
Well, it's coming to that time. Do you guys want to go? You want to stay? I don't know where Rose is.
It's Rose.
Rose
Getting
is
ready-
here
get-
somewhere.
She's getting ready for the next show.
I know. And we are winding down the light and everything.
guys.
You guys, my eyebrows are digitally
Song.
digitally put on. See?
Hey, Rose.
Hi guys, can you hear me?
Happy
Hey,
birthday
Rose.
to
Hey,
you.
Happy birthday.
Happy birthday
Happy
to
birthday.
you. Happy
Happy
birthday, dear
Dear
Rose.
Rose.
Happy birthday to you. We're not going to say how old are
Listen.
you.
Listen, guys, you can send the Rolls Royce and everything tomorrow.
Okay, okay, okay,
Okay, I accept Rolls Royce in different colors
okay.
Hey, yes.
and the Porsche.
And of course.
Yes.
But you
Um,
can't travel in two at one time, so why do you need two?
To go with my clothing. I need
Okay.
yes, I have to dress for the occasion.
I can
Okay.
understand that.
I appreciate you guys, a whole more than you ever know. There's a few persons that canceled last minute, and as you know, or Black people always have excuses. Some of them don't make any sense. So, however, I'm glad that you guys were able to come through. So, you all have a friend for life, because 2020, if it's one thing, 2020 has showed us a lot of things. And in my book, part of it is who will be there when it is that you really need them. And it has showed up a lot of things. So I really appreciate it, because this is not just about me, it's about the platform and persons looking forward to this. There are persons that have logged on from Jamaica and different places who are actually listening. It is up on my podcast as well. So you may not see some people online, but they're up and about doing things and they're listening to the podcast. And a few persons have reached out to me and said, wow, this is awesome. They seem very intrigued by the fact that there's so many women on the panel. And to be frank with you, there were more guys than women, but more women showed up than the guys.
Yeah, I told you.
Mhm.
It's hard
Yeah,
to pin those
so-
men down.
Right.
DJ, you're honorary woman today.
No, he's an honorable male today. Always.
Honorary woman. You give him the honor.
Yeah. So I have a few persons who have in Jamaica that are very impressed by the woman on the panel. Very impressed. So kudos for that. Sharifa is supposed to give a guest speakers announcement and stuff, so we can listen to what herself. Hillary is also a speaker as well. Eddie is going to log on sometime within the 4 to 5 p.m. hour. And Daddy Basco, he was in, but I think he's going to be back for 4 to 5 as well. So whether Sharifa or Hillary would like to start off with the guest speaking. If you guys would like to stay, we can get through the guest speaking side as well. Yes, no, maybe so.
Yeah. I mean, I'll be here listening. I'll probably close the camera for a little bit, but I'm still going to be here. And
Appreciate it. Okay, so Hillary or Sharifa, you guys, any of you guys would like to go ahead at 4, then that's fine. I think that's actually in a minute.
Hillary, I'd be honored if you went first, because girl, you fascinating.
Can she not talk?
I can
Can
listen,
she not?
listen to Hillary talk
I
all
listen to
day
Hillary
long.
all day.
Yes.
Okay. So are you ready?
So does the guest speaking spot talks at 4? We're on the same network, yes?
We're on the same network. Everyone has the same network.
Okay.
It's just continuing and just doing the speakers form, where it is that they will highlight what it is that they do, and focusing on the creative cultural industry and how it is that I mean, everyone that's on the panel actually is from the CCI industry. I think the big thing for me is that we're always left out in the cold when something happens. And the CCI has shown that we are the ones who have actually pulled the country out of recession each and every time, because we are not scared to go out and roll up our sleeves and to get new projects started. And they have used us in more ways than one when we start this project to get the recession back on alive. So we want to have a sense as to what it is that Hillary is doing. What's our plan beyond 2020 if there's COVID and she has to do things virtually? What is going to affect what she's doing now? And she may need assistance from some of the persons on the panel. The conference is about networking. So of course, you know, there are other persons on the panel that she probably have, since she has been, you know, within the speaking session, probably realized that, oh, I could use Rosalind help, or even Lady B Bless help. So we want to hear what are the plans beyond 2021, and most definitely we do not mind hearing how it has affect their doings in 2020 as well, both for yourself and Sharifa.
Okay. So are we ready to go?
Yes.
Okay. Well, once again, I'm hugely honored and humbled to be asked to speak here. Evening time for me in the United Kingdom, in a very cold, wet and wintry United Kingdom. So once again, I'm Hillary Brown, and I'm an immigration lawyer, and I specialize in visas to the United Kingdom for everybody. But I have a specific speciality around artists, sports people, and those within the creative industries. And 2020 has been an interesting year for the profession of law, because it's seen many people having to change the way they work. Many people having to become smarter in working the way more online. But for me, it's been a difficult year because many of our clients come into the United Kingdom requiring visas and work permits. And of course, the travel ban has prevented many of our clients from coming to the United Kingdom. It's been a difficult year for many people, I understand that, but I think the creative and sporting industries have been adversely impacted, probably more than any other industries, because their whole livelihood is earned by traveling to different parts of the world and performing in the various creative and sporting industries that they're in. And unless we get to grips with COVID and whatever other virus or pestilence comes at us in the future, our industry will always take a hit, and take a hit more than many other industries. Because as much as live streaming is amazing, as much as performances across various social media and other IT platforms is fabulous, if people do not travel from country to country, then a whole section of the industry will be absolutely decimated. It's going to be difficult to recover in a month or even in a year, because in relation to the United Kingdom, we are 4 separate countries, and we are 4 separate countries governed by different parliaments and devolved administrations, with 4 separate rules when it comes to travel restrictions around COVID. And so it's really unattractive right now for artists to want to even come into the United Kingdom to perform, and being unable to travel on a UK tour covering England, Ireland, Scotland, and Wales, if the restrictions vary from country to country. And so I spoke earlier about the need for our artists and our people within our creative and sporting industries, and how important it is for them to protect their immigration history and credibility as much as they protect their health. Because if there is an issue or a problem created in innocence, it could not only have a detrimental effect on their ability to travel to the United Kingdom to perform, it could have a negative impact on their ability to travel to any other part of the world. And so, as a support person within the sporting and creative industries, I have to step up and I have to do my bit. And sometimes I have to shout louder than most, and I have to be really insistent that managers and promoters and artists listen and listen carefully and do things very differently from how they've done things before. Because, as I've said earlier on my website, I make a point of the fact that artists' careers have not taken off purely because they couldn't take off. Literally, they couldn't get on a plane and travel to a country because people within the creative industries have messed up visas and work permit applications because they're not lawyers. And so I think we need to spend an awful lot of time educating the different components of our professions. We've come together here today and we've seen the networking opportunities and the opportunities to support each other. We've seen the creative opportunities that we can develop. And we've seen an opportunity to come together and look at our industry and say, how do we keep it alive? How do we prevent it from dying off like the dinosaur? And I know that I'm not the only one who has concerns right now about the creative and sporting industries, because it's a conversation that I've had with people from every continent, from absolutely every continent. And artists tell me there is nothing like performing live in front of an audience. And that's what gives them the opportunity that they need to grow as an artist, to grow in confidence as a person, and gives them experience that you can't get on a live performance across a social media or IT platform. And you can't read it from a textbook. So my position is, let's not look to others to find the solution to the problem that we are facing right now, and our artists and our sports people are facing right now. Let's get our head together, because we are a dynamic force of creative people. And we can be the change that we want to see. It is an absolute fact that when women come together, we are as a force of nature. And I think what we need to do now as women, and DJ, I include you in that because, as my sister said, you're an honorary female here tonight. You're an out there sister with us. But we need to come together from all of the continents in the world, and we need to find the solution to the problem that we face, because otherwise our industry is facing collapse. Stand with us, stand for us. We won't let you down. We're here for you. It's been an absolute honor to be here this evening with so many dynamic people spread out across many continents in the world, and I salute you.
So I'm next. Well, I'm gonna talk a little.
Thank you, Hillary. I would just like to say, thanks, Hillary, for that. I really appreciate you, and the fact always right on the money in terms of giving your professional opinion as it pertains to what it is that you do, and giving others guideline as well. If you guys are wondering, I'm not on camera. My eyes are swollen, so I was just staying in the back here and speaking. But I would have loved to be on video with you, because as you guys know, I would love to show off my hair. Every opportunity I get to show off my hair, I like to do that. But unfortunately, our pictures will have to do today. So yes, Sharifa, we'll listen to, you're up.
Okay. Thank you once again, Rose, for allowing me to come on your platform and speak. And I'm honored to be amongst the best of the best in the industry. And I don't know that much about the music industry. It just happened to fall in my lap. So with that said, I'm going to talk about something that I do know and that I am a professional and my expertise, and that's track and field. And in fact, you can also use these tools for managing and your music industry. So one thing that I want to talk about for track and field and music, if you have someone that needs to be developed, how to develop your athlete. And most coaches, they say that they are coaches, but are they really a coach? You can take talented athlete and put them out there and they will perform for you, but can you take a non-talented athlete and develop that athlete to become the star that they are meant to be? And you have coaches that will recruit these athletes and they will sign these athletes, and they know the ones that they sign, they may not have the potential to score any points for your team, but they like a little development. When that athlete come to your university, can you develop them? Now, we do have some coaches in high school that know how to develop an athlete, but as a college coach, can you take that athlete that has the determination, the willpower, and the great attitude to become the best athlete that they can become? And how to develop your athlete is learn how to set goals for your athletes. And this goes across the board. So if you have a talented or non so talented musician, can you, and you know they have the talent, if you put them in the studio or get them some voice lesson, how can you develop that musician? Developing a set and clear goal for your athlete. Expectation. What is your vision? How do you see yourself as a school, as a track team to be successful? Create a team environment. I've coached individually through my one-on-one track academy, and I have my athletes to set goals. I do an orientation with them and their parents, and I let them know, once I do a testing of your child, I will let you know where your child is at. I don't sell them falsehood that your child is going to be the greatest and the best. I take what I have with them, and I develop that athlete. And by the time they leave my academy, they have reached another level. And my program is money back guarantee. So everyone that has came through my program, whether they went to a D3, D2, D1, they have all gotten a scholarship. And with that said, everyone, and I tell coaches, you never stop learning. You have to be up on what's going on in 2020, in 2020, because I can't coach an athlete the way I was coached back in the 80s. I have to make myself available for more knowledge. I have to continue to learn. I got to continue to take classes. And as a athlete and as a coach, the best way to develop that athlete, you got to be in tune with that athlete, and that comes with communication. So say that you have Susan over here that runs the quarter in 60, and you recruited her and you gave her that scholarship, but you have Suzanne that running 52, 51. Now you comparing apple with oranges, but this young lady that's running 60, she has the capability of running that 52 like Suzanne did. But you have to invest in that athlete that you recruited, that you signed a scholarship, and you told their parents that you were going to invest in that child. So now this person that's running a 60 in the quarter, they feel left out. So now you know what they want to do? They want to transfer. And the reason why you have a lot of athletes that transfer and go on to a D2 school and make it and end up making the Olympic team, because that coach in the D2 school saw something that the coach at the Division I didn't want to see, because their eyes and their main focus was on their top #1 athlete. So if you're going to recruit athletes, if you're going to bring them into your program, treat them all the same. Now you will have some athletes that don't want it. They just there because their parents wanted them to go, and it was an easy way to get a scholarship. And I can use this as an example. My daughter, I coached her in high school, and she was a fairly decent track runner, but she wasn't a Sharifa. She wasn't like her mother. So I pushed track on her. So she's like, am I going to get a scholarship in track and field? Am I going to get a scholarship in track and field? I said, well, Gentel, you have to work hard. So no one was really recruiting Gentel because she was an average track runner. So I called this coach, and God bless his soul, I love him to death. He said, Sharifa, what kind of student is she? And I said, well, Gentel's smart. She has a 3.5, 3.8 in high school. And so he said, well, if she can hurdle, it was 3 o'clock. He said, if you can film her and teach her to hurdle between 3 o'clock and 5 o'clock, and you turn this video in, I will give her a scholarship. So here we are. I'm like, Gentel, you talking about you want a scholarship? Now it's time to really work, and we only have 2 hours to prove to the coach that you can do this. So I put the hurdles out there, and I'm developing her because she's never ran the hurdle. I developed Gentel running the hurdles within 2 hours, enough for her to get a full scholarship to college, which she did. So she went on and she scored for the college, and Coach William at St. Augustine University, he invested in my daughter. Not only did he invest in my daughter, he invested in every athlete that he had on his team. No one was bigger or better. He treated all the athletes the same. So that's what I'm trying to tell the coaches. You will have some that will outwork the other, and you should focus on them. But you have raw talent here that's willing to work and dedicate themselves to your program. So Gentel ran for 2 years, and she really didn't like it. She wanted to do track because her mother did track, and because I really pushed track on her. So without my knowledge, Gentel went into Coach Williams' office, and so she said, Coach Williams said, I want to give up my scholarship. And he said, what you mean you want to give up your scholarship? She said, this is not for me. He said, I'm really here because for my mother. So I really like acting. I really like being on TV and communication. He said, well, Gentel, does your mother know that you're giving up this scholarship? And she said, no, sir, she doesn't know. He said, well, I'm gonna have to call her. She said, Coach William, please don't call my mother because I know what my mother's gonna say. She said, my heart and soul is not in it. Said, can you give my scholarship to someone that's more deserving of a scholarship than me? Now that takes a bright young woman that knows that this wasn't her destiny. So she gave up her track scholarship without me knowing anything about it. By the time she did that, Coach William had already found her academic scholarship because she was Dean's List every year that she was there at college. So what I'm saying to coaches and parents, if your child does not want to do something, don't live your dream through your child. Let them have their own path to life, because their path is not our path, it's their path. And so moving back to how to become a better coach, how to become a better athlete is working hard. Not giving, as I said earlier this morning, not giving 100%, but you're going to give 200%. Once you find your goals, set your goals and put your goals on the refrigerator or your mirror, wherever in the house that you want. But everyone has to have some type of goal because goals are attainable. Don't put a goal out there that's so far reached that you can't reach that goal. So start off with a small goal. So I had a young man, never met him before in my life. I met him on social media through Instagram. And he said, I don't know you. He said, but my heart is leading me to you. He said, I had a full scholarship. And he said, I supposed to have been going to this university, but they didn't give me the scholarship. He said, my mother and my father can't pay for me to go to school. So I said, well, what is your work ethic? So he was telling me and he was showing me, he sent me some of his videos and everything like that. So I referred him to a coach. And I told the coach, I said, I don't know this young guy. I said, but he's been bugging me to try to get him a scholarship. And I'm looking at his work ethic and I know how persistent he is. And so the coach said, well, Sharifa, I'm going to go on your word and I'm going to give this young man a scholarship. It won't be a full scholarship, but it will be a partial scholarship so he can work his way to a full scholarship. Well, when I got in touch with the guy and his parents, they was crying on the phone. They said that they just cannot believe that I got their child a scholarship. So the son wanted to go to a big D1 school. Well, he wasn't ready for a D1 school. So I moved him down to a D2 school. I said, let's make sure that you're developed there. So his goal is to make the Olympic team and to make the Olympic trials and the Olympic team. So he went on and he's in college and he is doing so good because the coach there believed in this young guy because he was determined, he was persistent, and he's developing this young man. And the young man ended up taking first place in their conference. He went from a 0 to a hero, not because the coach didn't believe in him, but because the coach worked with him and developed him and then believed in this young guy that he could get the job done. So only thing I'm saying to coaches out there, when you recruit these athletes, give them an opportunity, continue to develop these athletes, continue to work with with those athletes, because like they say, the pork chop is in the hog. It just hadn't been cut out, and that you may find a diamond amongst that group that you recruited. That's my dog barking. Recruited. And so with that said, know your athlete. Know who you're recruiting and make sure that that athlete has the grades, because if the athlete doesn't have the grades, they can't get into school. So that starts with the high school coaches and the high school counselor and the parents. Make sure that your athletes has the grades to get in college, because if they don't have the grade, they can't be recruited. No college or no coach is going to want an athlete that's hanging on to a D. coming into the university, because your freshman year coming into college is your roughest year. So you have to make sure that that athlete has the grades and can maintain those grades in order to contribute to your athletic program. And that's it. Are there any questions from the ones that's on here? Any questions about athletics, getting a scholarship or anything? Because if you do know of some athletes that's looking for a scholarship, I'm the person that can get them the scholarship. I'm the person, because I don't have to know the person. I will work hard on your behalf for the kid to get a scholarship. And attitude goes a very, very long way. And that's what I tell when I go around and I speak. If the kids don't have the right attitude, I'm not going to touch them. I'm not going to touch them, because that's a reflection of me. If I send a kid to a school and their attitude is jacked up, I can remember when I was in college, and it was my freshman year, and there was this girl from Baltimore, Maryland, and her attitude, she didn't have the right attitude. So I was trying to be like her. I'm gonna be like, I'm gonna have a bad attitude. So my head coach called me in the office, and so she said, Sharifa, she said, don't let me call your mother. She said, because the young lady that you hanging around with, she won't be here long. So sure enough, my coach took a group to Melrose, Madison Square Garden to compete. And she left us in Tennessee to compete. So an athlete had gotten her to run the 4x4. And the assistant coach asked the young lady that I was hanging around with, will she fill in and run on the relay? The young girl said, no, I'm not running. Well, she didn't run. So he came to me. Something told me, you better go on there and run. So I ran. So when Monday came, our head coach found out about it, and the girl was let go and she went home. Now, just think if I would have had the same attitude she had and didn't use that opportunity to run on that relay, I would not be an Olympian. My scholarship would have been cut. I would have went back home to a small town called Harriman, Tennessee. But you can't let your friends get you in trouble, because what will happen is they will get you in trouble and laugh about it. Now your career and stuff is gone, but they're still standing. And I think that's it, Rose. Rosalind, you got anything to say, girl? Because you're very interesting, Rosalind. I can't wait to meet you.
Thank you. Well, thank you, Miss Sharifa.
You got a lot of things. You got a lot of great things going on.
Thank you. We are grateful, and we are humbled. It's really, I think, just being in the right place at the right time. So we've gotten a lot of good exposure. But I have a question. When you say that you work with athletes to help them get scholarships, do you do like a scouting in different countries, or people, or that they're sent to you? How does it work?
Well, most of the athletes, they're here in the United States that I get scholarships for, but now because we are abroad and in Africa, Africa has so much talent. People don't understand these great athletes over there. And so we have Justin Gatlin and I, through Born to Be Elite, we have 40 in Cape Town, and they were they had to go through a tryout in order to get into our program. But let's just say, Rosalind, that you know of an athlete that's good, that has the potential to come over here to the United States and do great. Let me know, and I got you.
Okay, I'll hold you to that.
Yes, please do, because I'm an Olympian, and I know way too many coaches from the South all the way to the North, and they respect me highly across, not just in the United States, but across the world. And they're gonna take what I say over anybody, because I'm not going to send them anyone that's not going to produce. And so yes, and what the coaches would do, they will look, the times have to, so say that you have an athlete and they want to run on a D1 level, but they don't have the time. So we're gonna have to scale back, and unless they work hard enough to get that time, and put them in a D2. The main thing is running and getting that college education, getting that degree at the end of the day, because education comes first before anything. Rose.
Hi guys.
Hey.
Hi guys. I was on a call, but I was listening in. Great presentation. Perplexed right now. Different things that has happened within the last 24 hours, but I'm glad that we were able to come through and deliver. And everyone walked away with a message. As I've said before, I'll say again, is that I call it the year of the truth. Okay? And for myself, it is that, yes, I will hold people accountable, knowing how it is that when someone asks me to do something, always with no regard. Okay? And so for the persons who tell themselves that it's okay not to, turn up for a conference and to give excuses that don't make sense. Trust and believe. I forgive, but I don't forget. Okay, so thank you guys for coming out. I really do appreciate it. I do appreciate it. And yes, now I know who matters, and now I know who it is that I can call on whenever it is that I have an event and what it is that I have to do. KD is a great person, I tell you, because at the last minute, I just threw him in there and he came in and he delivered 100%. And he has other appointments as well. But again, this was meant to make connections. It was meant so that persons would, be able to sit with other and connect and network, so that Africa can work with persons in the US, such as Rosalind and Sharifa. They could work one-on-one on different projects. I can't be everywhere, even everywhere, to put people together that can also help each other as well. That's the name of the game. It's not keeping all the secrets to yourself, but actually giving it to other persons so that they're able to grow as well. I just don't want to grow by myself. I want to see brothers and sisters grow, and that's what it is for me. So with everything, we came through. We did the athletics panel. We also did the arts panel, and now we have completed. We have completed the music panel, but however, we have the live performances that will start at 6:30 p.m. That's actually 2 hours from now. So everything is set in the system, and this is now going to be on. Because of everything happened this morning, I was unable to stream like I would like to on Facebook and Instagram and Twitter. but I've been behind the scenes working on that. So the music is Facebook, Twitter, YouTube, and worldwide as well. So I've put those things in place while it is that the conference has been going on. So you guys, in 2 hours, we'll be live and ready to go with the music side of BDG 2020. For myself, I look forward to working with everyone that was on the panel. I'm looking forward to working with you in more ways than one. Okay.
Thank you.
I know Roslyn.
Thank you so much.
I appreciate you guys. Yes, I know I'm going to be working with Roslyn on a project, and I'm looking forward to it and to do some other things with her as well. Yeah, so however it is I can help from the US, that I will do. And yeah, true. You're the definition of truth. I really appreciate it. Okay. So to make sure everything is up and running for 6:30. Again, that's in 2 hours. And I'll start the streaming then. Okay, questions for me?
Okay, see you later.
See you later.
You all be blessed.
Bye, everybody.
Stay prayed
Bless
up.
everyone.
Yeah. Bye, everyone. I will talk to Lady B. She did such a good job.
I'm here. Goodbye, everyone. I enjoyed meeting everyone.
Oh,
Rosalind, I will be in touch. I will be in touch with everyone because I want you guys on my show, Women Wednesday. I just had to take the lights and camera off. It was just a little too much. I was melting. I love you, ladies. I love everything you guys are doing. And I definitely want to collaborate in the future.
Mm-hmm.
Rose, thank you for the opportunity. And I want to let you know you're doing a wonderful job. You're a great, strong, and powerful woman.
Thank
and
you,
I love
because-
that.
Thank you, because we don't hear that enough. So thank you so much.
Hey.
Hello
Aww.
there.
Anyway, darlings, bye.
Okay, hold on.
You want me
Guys,
to
I'm going to close this out.